With the Yankees having clinched the postseason and looking to win the division tonight against Baltimore, I thought this is the perfect time to talk about who should be on the postseason roster, or in fact, who shouldn't. What's going on, guys? It's the King of 161st Street. I'm back with another video, and it would be very difficult for me to list out every name that should make the postseason roster. And most of the guys that would make it are pretty obvious. So let's just go to who should be left off this postseason roster. Starting off in the pitching end, Mark Leiter Jr. Mark Leiter Jr. was the headline trade acquisition for the New York Yankees in the pitching department. He was supposed to come in as a high reward, semi-risk strikeout pitcher. He had pretty good stats coming out of Chicago, having a low 4s ERA with a very high K rate. You're hoping with the likes of Matt Blake being able to fix a lot of relievers that he would be able to get Mark Leiter right. That has not happened. The talent is there. We see it. He's got tremendous break on all of his pitches. The problem is control. He has negative control. If he tries to get it on the outside corner, it's probably getting hit into the grandstands because he's hanging it over the middle of the plate. He tries throwing it down and in, it's going into the left grandstands because it's going over the plate. This man cannot locate a curveball to save his goddamn life. And with some of the starters going to the bullpen most likely, since you're only going to need 3 starters for the DS and 4 starters for the CS and the World Series, you're going to see the likes of Marcus Stroman, Clark Schmidt go to the bullpen and be long relievers, and you have the likes of Jake Cousins coming back. You have Clay Holmes being a setup man. You have Luke Weaver as a closer, Tommy Kahnle and Tim Hill to help out with the 6th and 7th. There's a lot of depth in this bullpen to where if you have one good start out of your starters, meaning 6 innings around, our bullpen is fine to use many of the same guys, leaving zero room for a guy like Mark Leiter, who in the postseason, I could see giving up tremendous pop. This is a trade that Brian Cashman is going to have to take on the head because this did not work out. And although we did not give up a lot to get him, it still failed. This is a failed experiment, and he should not be able to be on that roster, able to ruin everything the Yankees are working towards. The next guy that should not make the roster, DJ LeMahieu. Now, DJ LeMahieu is on the IL with a hip strain. To me, I think it's a phantom injured list. I'm not a conspiracy theory channel, so we're just going to move on off of that. DJ LeMahieu has disappointed for the last 4 years. Ever since he had the 2020 season, he won the batting title. The first half of 2022 looked really good. But other than that, he has been nothing but a disappointment off of this new contract. That has not changed in 2024. Coming off of injury, taking over that third base spot, he looks old. He looks sluggish. He doesn't have the same pop off his bat, and he can't even hit for the same contact that he used to hit for. And although the last few games he played, he was starting to heat it up at times, it's just not enough to make up for the utility we have at that position right now. You have Jazz Chisholm, who although has made a few errors at third base, is still 50 times better with the bat, is athletic enough to where he can make some really difficult plays at third that DJ LeMahieu just can't. And although some throws are errant, he's still providing more value than someone like DJ LeMahieu really ever did at third base. You have a guy like Oswaldo Cabrera, who is more of a utility guy. If you want him in the outfield to take over for Judge or Soto in the 9th inning, you can. If you want him at first base to take over for Rizzo, if you needed to play a platoon game, you could. And if you needed him at third base for defense in the 9th, you could do that as well. Oswaldo Cabrera, his versatility is his value to this team. Being able to play multiple positions creates a ton more value than whatever DJ LeMahieu has brought this year. Then you go to the possibility of John Birdie. Now, John Birdie just coming off of injury, I could see a world where they can justify placing DJ in that spot instead of John Birdie off the bench. My response would be, if DJ LeMahieu is coming off the bench, is his bat good enough in a pinch hit slot that it would be more valuable than having a pinch runner as fast as Jon Berti? I would argue absolutely not. The speed of Jon Berti, especially if games go deeper and if we go to extra inning and we get that ghost runner. Let's say the ghost runner is Stanton or the ghost runner is Rizzo. Having Jon Berti at second base in that slot is value to this team. Having that speed, getting the pitcher off balance, and being able to score in those situations is huge, especially in the postseason. Not wasting opportunity. I know DJ LeMahieu is on a big contract and ownership is probably going to want him bring value to that contract in the postseason. But this team cannot afford to have an automatic out being on the field at any point. And at times, DJ LeMahieu has been just that. He's too old to be playing the style of baseball that he used to play. And now he's playing catch up. This is a recipe for disaster if he stays on this roster. Now, there are a few guys that you could argue would get subbed in and subbed out. You could take Tim Meza out, bring in a Scott Efros or someone like that. But I would assume that the Yankees want multiple lefties in that bullpen. If Lou Trevino comes back, that's a whole different story. They may actually put him in over Tim Meza. But other than that, I think the roster should stay exactly as constructed. Clayton Beeter is on the roster at this moment, but he will be replaced with Jake Cousins once Cousins is back. So other than that, this roster would look very similar to the way the roster looks at this moment. The combination of having Mark Leiter, who does not know how to not hang a curveball, and DJ LeMahieu, who forgot how to hit a baseball, those two should be left at home or on the bench watching the rest of the roster play. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that DJ LeMahieu deserves a shot on this roster? Do you think Mark Leiter has the talent to turn it around in the postseason? Or do you agree with me on these takes? Let me know down below. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I'm out of here. Take care and peace.